My question is to the Minister for Immigration, Citizenship and Multicultural Affairs. It is a privilege, not a right, to be welcomed as a guest to our country. In government, the Coalition cancelled more than 10,000 visas of dangerous non-citizens who posed a threat to the Australian community. Minister, how many visas have you cancelled under the character provisions of the Migration Act?
Order. Order. Members on my right, give the call. Order. The member for Cooper will cease interjecting. The member for Barker will leave the chamber under 94A. Give the call to the Minister.
Thank you, Speaker, and I thank the Shadow Minister for Home Affairs for her question. As she would be well aware, on this side of the House, when we were in opposition, we supported the 2014 changes to the character cancellation regime.
The member for Latrobe is warned.
As the member for Latrobe should remember, because he was in this place, we supported in 2014 the changes introduced by the former government to the character cancellation regime. We believe it is important that we cancel visas where appropriate. We deny visas and cancel visas as appropriate. We also think that this is an area where a common-sense approach is required, because we have seen unintended consequences of the regime that was put in place by the former government. We've been working through those, having regard in particular to the critical importance of our relationship with our good friends in New Zealand. These are issues that should be of significance to the Leader of the Opposition, who put a wrecking ball through the immigration portfolio when he was minister. He built an edifice around himself instead of focusing on the national interest, particularly on questions like this, which should be beyond this cheap partisan politics. Because after all this time,
the Minister will resume his seat. We'll just pause, and I'll hear from the Leader of the Opposition. We'll cease injecting so I can hear from the member for McPherson.
Point of order is on relevance. The question clearly requires a number, and we are a minute and a half into the answer, and we haven't received the number.
I thank the member for McPherson. Order. Members on my right, the member for Patterson is warned. I'll hear from the Leader of the House.
Mr Speaker, the preamble clearly made every part of this answer relevant to the question that was asked.
When a specific question is asked, and we've had this before with yes or no or a specific number, the Minister needs to be relevant to the question. I'll ask him to return to the question to make sure that he is addressing the member for McPherson's concerns, and I'll give him the call.
Thank you, Speaker. I am sure, like all Ministers for Immigration, and indeed Ministers for Home Affairs who also have responsibilities in this area, as the Shadow Minister will know, make these decisions on the basis of the law and the materials before me. What is so disappointing here is that everyone in this parliament recognises the policy grounds we have that go to visa grants and indeed to the cancellation of visas to non-citizens who should not be in the community, who present a range of risks. These are not issues that should be shamelessly politicised. Indeed, many issues, Mr Speaker, that go to the operation of our migration system go to the shameless politicisation of this regime by members opposite over 9 years of neglect. And I actually expected a bit more of the Shadow Minister for Home Affairs, because one thing that unites or should unite every member of this place is a concern for the safety of the Australian community. The
member for Petrie.
And the fact that members opposite seem entirely unconcerned about this is frankly disappointing. From the last election, they have learned absolutely nothing. Perhaps they could consider how we could work together in the national interest on these questions instead of engaging in this shameless scaremongering.